Hello guys, welcome to United's Glory. Manchester United knock Liverpool out of the FA Cup after Bruno Fernandes knocks Liverpool off their perch. Look, I know knocking Liverpool off their perch isn't meant in that context. I don't care. Anytime we beat Liverpool, we are knocking them straight off that perch. The arrogance from the Liverpool fan base over their recent successes. You'd think that they've been winning the Premier League for the last 30 years. They've won one. They've won one Premier League title in 30 years. And they think they are the shit. You're not. Get down. Sit down, you scousers. Anyway, Bruno Fernandes knocks them off their perch. And, you know, we didn't just do it by sitting back and catching them on the counter-attack. Sure, we caught them on the counter-attack. And sure, Liverpool had their spells. But, you know, we played well today. We came out of that match the better team. They can't even say they had all these players out because we rested. Sure, they weren't injured, but we rested a lot of players today. David De Gea, Eric Bailly, Fred came on. He was on the bench. Bruno was on the bench. Anthony Martial was on the bench. We didn't exactly put our strongest team out today, so there's no excuses from Liverpool. We just beat them. We beat them well. Like I said a few minutes ago, there were some shady patches, you know, where Liverpool did play well. They're a good team. So you expect them to create chances. But ultimately, we played on the front foot for quite a bit of the game and we came out winners today. At our time, we were definitely the better team. Liverpool had a strong 15-20 minutes in the second half where they looked like they were really going to take the game out of our hands. But then came Bruno, the new Eric Cantona. I'm sorry, I'm happy. I'm all on that ride now. He is the new Eric Cantona because he is going to lead us to a Premier League title. This win today, look, the FA Cup's the FA Cup. I don't want to completely disrespect it, but at the end of the day, that cup, like Ferguson used to say, the bread and butter's a Premier League title. The toppings are the extra cups you win, the FA Cups, the League Cups. But ultimately, we want to win the Premier League. If we had got knocked out today, it may have been a blessing in disguise. But ultimately, what today really served was a huge blow to one of our rivals. They've been beat again. Their form is awful. If Ollie was on this form, trust me, the pitchforks would be out for that man. But guys, give Ollie some respect. Give Ollie some respect. You know, even I had my doubts about Ollie. And okay, I do still want to see the coaching aspects of his football improve and, you know, see more possession football. But, you know, he's getting the results. And you cannot argue with that. He's top of the league. He's just knocked out the best team, potentially the best team in the league of the FA Cup. You know, we should have gone through the first group stage of the Champions League. Maybe it was just, you know, a youthful team with naivety in the Champions League. But, you know, we did. Well, we even beat PSG on the way. You know, we're having a good season and it's going from strength to strength. But what today did was give those players the confidence that they can beat the likes of Man City and Liverpool. Because I said recently, okay, at top form, we're about there. And Man City and Liverpool, well, Man City not so much recently, but Man City and Liverpool have been playing on form about there, but their peak is there. It's just above us. But we went out and beat Liverpool today by playing on the front foot a lot of the game. And okay, we counter-attacked when we needed to, but, you know, we did it. We beat them. They're out. We created plenty of chances. We could have scored 5 or 6 today. You know, Cavani, I thought he'd scored at the end. We won easily. Easily is hyperbole, but, you know, they're off the perch. Who cares? Anyway, looks like there are one season wonders over. And it can go back to being the way it was. Man City's the problem now in the league. We've got West Ham next in the FA Cup. We should be able to beat them, but why do we keep getting Premier League teams all the time? It's a bit weird. Man City got Swansea. I mean, come on. But, you know, the FA Cup's one of those competitions. You get far in it, you know, you start taking it seriously towards the end. You start playing your fuller teams towards the end. And, you know, maybe we can go all the way in it. Maybe it's going to be a FA Cup Premier League double, like Ferguson used to specialise in the 90s. Well, right, anyway, I'm going to go on to player ratings. Dean Henderson, I can't really blame him for any of the goals. His passing was okay today as well. He didn't really panic on the ball like that mishap he had a few weeks ago, which he could potentially put down to match fitness. What I like about Dean Henderson is he can throw the ball. Something that David De Gea doesn't have in his arsenal. I'm not criticising David De Gea because David De Gea has played very well recently and, you know, he doesn't deserve to be dropped. But one thing I do like about Dean Henderson is he can throw the ball. It's a throwback to Peter Schmeichel for me. Peter Schmeichel used to be able to get the ball and throw it out to the halfway line and start a counter-attack like that, and it was deadly, absolutely deadly. I've not seen Henderson throw that far, but he is throwing the ball out a lot, and he's very accurate with his throwing as well. Maybe one or two will go misplaced here and there, but it can potentially be another cause from goals from very, very deep, and we're a counter-attacking team, so, it's another weapon in our arsenal, so when he does play, we can start doing that. But I can't blame him for the goals. It was great finish by Salah for that first goal. And the second one was just from close range and went under his legs whilst he was in motion. You can't really blame him for that. So I'm going to give Dean Henderson a 7. Didn't really get forced to make any brilliant saves, etc. like that. So I think 7's a fair rating. Wan-Bissaka, great defensively. Wan-Bissaka's really good as well at getting out wide on the offensive and receiving the ball out wide and really helping stretch the opponents. It's unfortunately is when he gets the ball, he falls apart. It reminds me of Antonio Valencia, actually. Up until the last third part of the field, he's a really good player, and he really needs to improve that last part of his game. I think he's only 21, 22 at the moment, so he has plenty of time to improve. He needs to improve his passing and the timing of his passing as well. I mean, you saw Trent Alexander on the other side today, and his passing is excellent, except Trent Alexander kind of got ripped apart by Marcus Rashford today. Whereas, Wan-Bissaka dealt with his man easily. But I think, like Shaw's benefited this year from having Tellez compete with him, I think Bissaka next year, we should probably get an extra right back in to compete with him, like a good right back that can take his place. And hopefully we see the same benefits with Wan-Bissaka that we saw with Luke Shaw. I'm going to give Wan-Bissaka a 7 out as well. Now, on to Luke Shaw. I'm usually very critical of Luke Shaw when I think he needs to be criticised, but it was a bit of a 50-50 performance today, but I'm going to tell you why I prefer this version of Luke Shaw to the usual one we get. Luke Shaw on the ball today was magnificent. His overlapping runs were magnificent. He was confident in the ball. He was driving with the ball. That's a Manchester United fullback for me. That's what I want to see from Manchester United's fullbacks. Defensively, though, even though you can't say anything was specifically his fault, his man scored 2 goals today and should have had a hat-trick, really. So you've got to say that Luke Shaw needed to get tighter to his man on several occasions. They were clearly picking out that spot. Even though Luke Shaw pocketed Salah only a week or so ago, he didn't today. He really didn't today. Salah was getting chance after chance. And you have to look at Luke Shaw for that. But I prefer this version of Luke Shaw because I think that's what Manchester United fullback should be. Of course you want to have a solid defensive fullback as well. But, I want to see more of what Luke Shaw was doing today offensively because I thought he was brilliant. His corners were superb. I mean, he is the best corner taker in our team. He should take all the corners. I know he is doing recently, but I want to see this Shaw. And whilst I do think he could have done better defensively, I thought his attacking display was what you want from your fullback at Manchester United. So I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 because unlike Wan-Bissaka, he can pass the ball and his timing of pass is very good as well. He sets Rashford off a lot. He gives Rashford space to, terrorise the opponent's defence. So 8 out of 10 for sure for me today. On to Victor Lindelof. He's just a steady defender. A very steady defender. Very good on the ball. Doesn't panic on the ball. Good passer. The only problem with Victor Lindelof is he the right man to partner Harry Maguire? Because, you need a pacey player with Harry Maguire, especially if you want to push that back line further up. And Eric Bailly tends to suit that kind of style of football more. But I don't think that's a slant on Victor Lindelof. It's just not the type of player he is. But, he is very solid. He's a very good third choice centre-back to have. He's a very reliable centre-back. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 today because, it wasn't like a superb performance. But I'm going to say the same for Harry Maguire today as well. He was just solid today, winning his headers, doing what you exactly want him to do in defence. I don't think either of Liverpool's goals particularly came from bad defending. It was more so losing the ball in silly positions. So a 7 out of 10 for Harry Maguire as well. On to Scott McTominay. Now, Scott McTominay, I felt, had a really good 30 minutes in the middle of that game. But at the start of the game, he was quite sloppy on the ball and he was basically just getting skinned quite a lot. Then he had a good 30 minutes from about the 25 minute to, 65 minutes. Where, he was winning the ball. He was taking his man on as well. And you have to be able to do that against teams like Liverpool who press so high. Because if you manage to take that press on by just dribbling past them, you basically cut out a whole line of their defence nearly. So a so-so performance by McTominay for me today, because I think after that 30 minutes of good performance, he started getting really sloppy on the ball again and giving it away, mistiming his passes. I do think McTominay is quite press resistant, to be honest. He does tend to pass backwards or sideways, but that's okay because, a lot of top teams have that kind of player that pass backwards or sideways. They just pick the safer option. But, he has to cut the sloppiness out of his game. And you could say maybe he could have closed Liverpool's attacker down quicker on Liverpool's first goal. But, it was just a good goal in my opinion. Good teams will score good goals. So I'm going to give McTominay a 7 out of 10 today. A good performance for a bit of the game and not so much for the rest of the game. Maybe I'm being a bit generous, maybe a 6 to 7. But I'm going to be generous because, we're just not Liverpool off their perch. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Paul Pogba, brilliant today. Another solid performance. Pogba's going from strength to strength. Did all the dirty work today, which was great. Not something, I won't say it's not something you usually associate with Pogba, but he was doing it consistently throughout the whole 90 minutes. Pogba is not a lazy player. I just think sometimes he's not a proactive player. And I think that's the problem with Pogba. But right now, he's got the bit between the teeth and he's being very proactive. And maybe what he's saying is absolutely correct. Maybe that's just his motivation. Maybe he is one of those cherry on the cake players. He has to be playing in a winning team. Some players are like that. Some of the best players we've ever seen are like that. Put them in a worse team and they don't flourish quite so much. But Pogba's been brilliant recently. Personally, when we made the substitutes, I would have took McTominay off, put Fred next to Pogba, and kept Pogba in midfield because I thought Pogba was doing better in the midfield than McTominay was. But even when he went out on the right, apart from the weird cross he did at the end, which I think he knows he should have done better, he's doing his job. He is doing his job for Manchester United, and he is a great player. He's a world-class player. But I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 today. I think BBC gave him man of the match. I don't think he was man of the match. He was definitely. I gave him man of the match against Fulham, and I do apologise for that video not being uploaded. I recorded a whole video, and the sound was not there. Something happened with my mic. But Pogba, I gave Pogba man of the match against Fulham. Brilliant goal against Fulham. But today was a solid midfield performance. He's really coming on. So 8 out of 10 for Pogba. Van der Beek. Donny van der Beek. I was happy he got a start today, but I'm just going to be honest. He's a good, clever, tidy player, but he doesn't do enough. He does not do enough in terms of doing things in the big moments. You can't be a Manchester United player if you don't do big things in big moments. You can't just be a tick-along player at Manchester United, especially not in the kind of team we are now. We're a counter-attacking team. I'm not saying he's a bad player at all, but, he needs to take more risks. If he takes more risks, bigger things will happen. Even if it doesn't come off, you get forgiven for that kind of thing at Manchester United if you take risks. But he's playing too safe. There was one moment where he got through on that right-hand side and, he pulled it back. It was against Fabinho. You wanted to see him take him on. I know he's not a dribbler or a particular fast player, but, against another central midfielder, you'd expect him to, take a chance. If he took the chance and got tackled, fair enough, but he didn't. He pulled it back. Some people might say, well, he's held on to the ball for us there, but, the problem is he's got to dislodge Bruno Fernandes, who always takes a risk. And Bruno Fernandes gives the ball away quite a lot. Let's face it, he's quite wasteful with the ball. But because he keeps taking risk after risk after risk, something comes off and we score. And you win games by scoring. So just keeping possession isn't going to win you the game. I don't want to be too harsh on him, though, because sometimes you can have a good performance by not being, too much of a headline grabber. You can just have a tick-along performance and it works quite well for the team as a unit. But Van der Beek's a player that needs to grab his chances. And I just don't think he's doing that now. And I'm not sure he deserves to be starting at the moment. Unless he starts in that midfield pivot and with the two players, maybe playing next to Pogba, maybe give him a chance there. But, I don't see the tenacity and the tackling ability and the physicality that you need in the Premier League. Maybe you can get away with it in Europe, but, I'm not going to be too harsh on him. I'm going to give him a 6 because he weren't bad. He's just not grabbing those chances for me. But he has 2 world-class midfielders ahead of him in Pogba and Bruno Fernandes. You can be a very good midfielder, but, they're just world-class. 6 out of 10 for Van der Beek. On to Marcus Rashford. I'm giving Marcus Rashford man of the match. involved in the first 2 goals, an assist and a goal for Marcus Rashford. He was ripping their left side apart. Well, our left side when we was attacking down our left side, and he was ripping their right side apart. Every time Trent Alexander pushed forward, Marcus Rashford was in space. Even when Trent Alexander got back, he was, forcing their defence into silly tackles, including Alexander Arnold. Alexander Arnold does not like playing against Marcus Rashford. And, I just thought he played really well today, Marcus Rashford. I'm usually quite critical of Rashford because he's usually good for 10 minutes a game, but the rest of the 90 minutes he's inconsistent. But today he was very good. No sloppiness in his game, which he, hopefully he'll just keep, driving out of his game, and we'll get the world-class player Marcus Rashford. I think he's nearly there. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10, man of the match for Marcus Rashford. Mason Greenwood. I was getting very frustrated with him the first 20 minutes. I thought he should have pulled that one back at the beginning to Cavani or Van der Beek. It was tight, but at the same time, taking a shot on his weaker foot from that angle was also, just a bad choice personally. You expect these bad choices from younger players. But my problem with Greenwood at the minute is becoming a bit predictable. He keeps doing his step overs and trying to get on his left foot. Sure, that's what he wants to get on because he's left footed and he's not naturally a right winger. But, he keeps doing it. It's getting predictable. It's second season now. He needs to add something to his game. So he then went on and proved me completely wrong anyway. He went on and scored a great goal with his right foot and, set up Marcus Rashford's second goal. He ended up having a good game. I thought it was harsh that he got took off. I thought he was still there for the counter-attack. But, Liverpool were getting on top and we weren't getting enough of the ball. And maybe we needed Pogba up there to, hold on to it a bit. But a very good game. I'm going to give Mason Greenwood a 9 out of 10 as well. It's one of his best performances so far. You can't really criticise someone too much when they're at least getting the chances. He got chances today. Maybe I thought he could have done better with the first couple of chances. But, he kept getting in there. And that's the courage and bravery to, not let your head dip. And then he ultimately scored a goal that got us back in the game because going 1-0 down to Liverpool is not the best position to be in. But he got us back in the game with a great right-footed finish. 9 out of 10 for Mason Greenwood. On to Cavani. I'm going to be harsh on him because, ultimately it was his pass that gave Liverpool their second goal and ultimately allowed them to get the confidence to get back in the game. The rest of his game was really good. Great hold-up play, buzzing around, something that, you want as a striker. Even if it's not your main ability, it's great to have that in the striking position because the defence of the opposition always have to be on their feet. And that's my problem with Anthony Martial. As big as a fan of Martial I he makes the first run, but then he becomes quite, static and isolated. Whereas Cavani doesn't. He makes the first run, then the second run, and you saw it at the end when he hit the post. When Bruno got the ball, Cavani made the run outside and then kind of made a run back inside. It was the first run and then the second run that allowed Bruno Fernandes to find him. And he hit the post. He was unlucky. I thought it was going in. But, its performance is a little marred by the fact, that he gave the ball away sloppily for that second goal of Liverpool's. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I feel like I'm being harsh. It might have been an 8 out of 10, but, still a good performance. Good performance, great striker's performance. Anthony Martial really needs to learn from Cavani. He's got the time to learn from Cavani. Anthony Martial shouldn't be written off as a striker, but, he has got a few dimensions he needs to add to his game. Even if it's not his natural skill set, he should still look at Cavani and think, okay, it's causing the opposition problems here. I need to start doing that as well. Substitutes, Bruno came on, the new Cantona. You can't say any more about Bruno Fernandes. He's looked tired and a bit leggy recently, but he'll always make an impact in the game because he's happy to take risks. He's got that bravery and that courage to, take a risk at any part of the game. And that free kick was a bullet. I think Alan Shearer was saying the goalkeeper should have saved it. I don't know what chance the goalkeeper had. It was a bullet straight into the corner. And it's won us the game. Big moments, big goals, and he's won us the game there because we were up against it at that point. Liverpool were growing in confidence throughout the game and it was probably against the run of play, to be honest. And, he's done it again. And he nearly had an assist as well at the end with Cavani's header. Fred came on. I thought when Fred came on... Bruno Fernandes, an 8 out of 10. Fred came on. I thought when Fred came on, Liverpool, with his pressing ability, Liverpool started to, pass backwards a little bit more and stop passing straight through our midfield, which was happening with McTominay and Pogba. And maybe they were starting to get a bit leggy from all the chasing down and the passing. But, you know, Fred came on and brought a bit of energy. He also made the pass into Cavani, which led to the free kick. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Anthony Martial didn't really get enough time on the pitch, but, you know, didn't do anything good or anything bad. So I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got it completely right today. The thing is, he put Rashford on the left, and I was flabbergasted that he didn't do this in the league game a week or so ago and decided to play Martial on the left and Rashford up front, when, you know, Martial should be good enough and quick enough to give Liverpool's current centre-backs problems with his pace, because Martial is quick. Maybe not as quick as Rashford, at least over a long distance, but Martial is quick. But Rashford constantly gives Trent Alexander-Arnold a lot of problems. So and we saw it today. I just don't know why we didn't do it in the league. I think, you know, we could have come away with a win if we'd have, you know, got that balance right up front in the league game at Anfield. But I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10 because he got everything right today. We're through with not Liverpool off their perch, and it's going to breed confidence throughout the rest of the season. So, you know, great performance. We are competing with the best teams in the league now. A year or so ago, we weren't. We were just getting walloped and hoped for a lucky goal on the counter-attack. You know, we're giving these teams games. We're not just getting brushed aside. Even though Man City deserved to knock us out of the League Cup, you know, they weren't creating chance after chance. They weren't open and carving us up, and it weren't like we weren't getting chances ourselves. You know, we're starting to compete, and nobody expected us to be in this position in this league this year. But, you know, if we can find a way to win the league this year, we should hopefully be better next year with the confidence that's been raised from a title win, etc., and maybe a few new additions. You know, there's no reason why we can't be at Man City and Liverpool's level, and that's competing at Champions League level as well. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Like I said, if you love talking about Manchester United, please do subscribe. Smash a like on the video if you think we can win the Premier League and the FA Cup free, League FA Cup double. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.